A bizarre game in which the Avs find point. They lose 4-3 in overtime, so still the only team in the National Hockey League without a regulation loss are the Colorado Avalanche. Actually, scratch that. Is Vegas still
Vegas
unbeaten in
5-0-2.
regulation at this point? So there is still an opportunity for those two teams to see each other on Halloween night, rather Halloween afternoon,
Ooh.
both with zeros in the actual loss column. So Colorado, they get a point in a really bizarre game that felt sloppy. It felt like there were a lot of unforced turnovers from Colorado. I thought the refereeing was atrocious from top to bottom, but you found a way to get a point. It feels a little slimy considering how you started off the game, but you guys know me. You get a point in the regular season, I'm happy.
Once again, I mean, how many shows do we have where I start by saying just a million places we could start? And Lord knows there are a ton of things I want to talk about from that hockey game. But let's start at the very end. I want to start at the very end, actually. The loss in overtime, the one sequence in overtime. Raj, that was a terrible play by Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah, MacKinnon, it was an absolute unforced turnover in the middle of the ice. There was no reason to try and force that, and
he decides to circle out of the zone.
It was a dumb play,
and then he makes a brain dead pass to I think it was Natchez. It was Natchez.
There's no reason. You're gaining nothing from that pass.
If you're going to circle out, therefore you're telling me you're going to be patient.
Yeah.
Why are you forcing that pass?
It just screams to me. Nate hates 3-on-3, man. He hates 3-on-3 overtime. Can't fucking stand it. So not only does he do that, but he doubles down and doesn't back check.
Sure. Yeah. Nate's not it was
pretty bad.
He's a bad shootout player. Nathan MacKinnon.
It's a good thing that he's better than everyone on the planet. Everything else.
Yeah, it wasn't the best Nate game tonight. It really wasn't. It wasn't great overall. It really wasn't. But then Marty Natchez did. Dude, what a shot. Oh, my God. How did that thing go in? What a freaking snipe. The Avs get a point because of that snipe from Marty Natchez. We can talk Natchez contract. I think the next place we need to go with this game, though. And yes, I see in the chat, ESPN broadcasts, fucking Ryan Smith.
No, I don't even care about Ryan Smith.
It's not even where I want to go next.
The ESPN broadcast is terrible from top to bottom. When you compare it to local broadcasts and when you compare it to TNT, it is absolute crap. And God forbid you compare it to what happens north of the border with Sportsnet and the CBC. Like they don't even come close. It is top to bottom a horrible broadcast.
It made it even worse.
Butcher doing games. I'm over the color commentator. I'm over the Ryan Smith thing. That was unwatchable.
Yeah, and I haven't had a gigantic problem. To me, it's just been mid. It's been there. Tonight was the first night where even I was like, what is this? But speaking of that, I mean, who was the rules analyst tonight? Dave Jackson?
Dave Jackson's a Colorado guy. I know Dave well.
Okay. And look, he's just, they go to Dave because this is the play. Like, this is what we need to go to next. The offside call on what would have been Gabe Landeskog's first regular season goal in over 3 years. And, Butchergrass and, oh my gosh, we've had this girl on, correct me, at Lindahl, and I can't even remember her name. My apologies. They toss to Dave Jackson, and they don't have him at first because Dave's on the phone or something with Toronto.
Dave's trying to make sense of what Toronto
told
him.
What's Toronto's explanation?
You could hear in Dave's voice that, so Dave Jackson is the rules analyst, right? He's a former longtime NHL referee who makes his home here in Colorado. Great dude, big dude, strong guy. You could tell Dave was like, I am not going to give any opinion on this. I'm just going to tell you what Toronto said.
Give your opinion on it. All he did was talk to Toronto on the phone and relay their dumbass analysis
Yeah,
of
you sure did.
that call. He didn't say what he thought the call should have been. And Raj, we know what. Okay, there's two factors to this offside call. One is what wasn't even discussed on the broadcast. We know it all too well. I saw you tweet about it. I tweeted about it. I mean, and it's funny that it's a Gabe Landeskog goal. And it was very reminiscent of Landeskog's playoff goal. Nice little snipe from that kind of upper left-hand side, similar spot where he scored in the Stars series in, I think it was game 4. But either way, 2019 Sharks series, game 7, Landeskog was the retiring player, going off on a line change. And what was his name? I didn't even look it up. Colin Smith. What was that Avs dude's name? I'll have to look it up. I should have done this during the game, but either way,
Colin Wilson.
Colin Wilson. I said Colin Smith.
Wilson.
Thank you, Raj. Colin Wilson. He scored that goal. Here, Landeskog is the goal scorer, and there were like 2 Avs going off the ice. Let me start there. I hate this rule.
Yeah, it's a shit rule.
They are, and the rule book, because we looked this up in 2019, they are retiring players. They are inconsequential to the play. This is a line change sport. They are dead. Just because they're not on the bench yet doesn't mean that they are not going to the bench. They're off. They're done. It's a line change sport. They are inconsequential. Yet you're going to tell me that because the Avs bench is south of the blue line and they're going off, that, look, dude, we're going to take, this is not just an Avs thing. This is a sport thing. You're going to take goals. We love goals. You're going to take goals off the board because one bench just so happens to be south of a blue line. And when you're going off the ice, the puck can bounce any given way at any given time. You may as well just give up. If you are executing a line change and you have an opportunity to steal a puck, which is a whole other can of worms we'll get to in a second, because that's not even really what happened, you may as well just give up. Because if you steal that puck and your players are going off the ice, you can't score. You literally cannot score.
It's an infuriating rule. So here's the rule that pertains to retiring players leaving the ice. And then I'll get into the rule that actually that ESPN and Dave Jackson brought to the broadcast saying, hey, it wasn't offside because of the guy in the zone. It was rather called back, it was offside because there was an Avalanche player in the zone. And we believe that Utah didn't bring the puck back into their zone. We'll get into that in a second. Sorry, I know that was a little convoluted,
Sure,
but I will clear it up in a second. If during a delayed offside, an attacking player in the attacking zone elects to proceed to his player's bench, which extends into the attacking zone to be replaced by a teammate, he shall be considered to have cleared the zone, provided he is completely off the ice and his replacement comes onto the ice in the neutral zone. If his replacement comes onto the ice in the attacking zone, if the delayed offside is still in effect, he must too clear the attacking zone. If the remaining attacking players have cleared the attacking zone and the linesman has lowered his arm for the delayed offside, he shall be considered onside. When those players are leaving the ice, they are considered retired players, no longer in the play. So, and I see it in the comments on Twitch right now from G Bruin. If you're going to call it offside, you should also call it too many men. Colorado should then be killing off a 5-on-4 penalty, right? So I need both things that are true to be true, right? If the player is on the ice and he counts in the play, he should then be considered a player on the ice. So what I'm asking for is, like, if you're going to penalize Colorado and say it was offside because there were too many dudes there, call a penalty. Make Colorado go 5-on-4 and kill off the penalty at that point. The rule needs to be amended. If you are retiring and away from the play, inconsequential to the play, which those retiring players are, it should be allowed to continue forward. Now, where we get into the craziness of this interpretation of the call is when we're talking about Val Nichushkin's intent to forecheck the player and poke check a stick. The fact that Dave Jackson was like, Toronto told me that it is in fact not Utah bringing the puck back into their zone, which would negate any offside player, right? Because if you are a possessing team that brings the puck back into your defensive zone, it doesn't matter. You are bringing that back into your zone by your own volition. It's not offside. It just wipes everything off the board because you are then coming back across your own blue line, right? It's completely different if it's an attacking team entering their attacking zone. But the rule interpretation here, for some fucking insane reason, is because Val Nichushkin was intending to forecheck the puck. He caused Utah to go back into their zone. I have, in 30 years of being around this sport, I have never heard that fucking asinine rules interpretation once. It's insane. Think of it this way. If I get called for cross-checking someone in the teeth after the whistle, all I have to do is go to a referee and go, well, it was actually what he made me do. He was being a douche. He said something mean about my wife, so I want to cross-check him in the teeth. He should go to the penalty box. What are we doing?
It's terrible. What it should be is, okay, it should just be this: who touches the puck to cause it to go back into the Avalanche's offensive zone. And when you look at the replay, yes, Nichushkin is poking his stick, but you cannot tell on that replay whether or not he actually touches the puck. Therefore, there is not conclusive evidence that Val Nichushkin was the one who put that puck into the offensive zone. So if it was a Mammoth player that put that puck into the zone, which is what the video shows, especially considering the call on the ice, this was not waved off immediately. This was coaches challenged. This was not the goaltender interference a few moments later where the refs on the ice said no goal. No, the call on the ice was goal. So you have to have irrefutable evidence that video shows that Val Nichushkin, at least I thought this is what it was going to be, that he touched that puck.
And he didn't.
But apparently, so everything you just said and the interpretation that we've been giving is that Val he didn't even have to touch the puck. He just tried.
He just had to go boo.
What?
Boo.
Kind of asinine rule is that?
If I'm Jared Bednar, man, I am screaming to the high heavens and taking a fine and asking ownership to pay it for me. Like honestly, man, it changed the flow of the game. It was so very clear that from that point on, Colorado was like wind out of your sails. And yeah, I guess you can get upset about that, right? Like, don't let one bad decision cost you the game. It cost them the entire second period, and they had to wait until Marty Nate just picked a corner that was 2 inches wide to get a point out of this one. It was a ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous call. Remember back when Colorado was playing Seattle and there was that crazy offside call where Lehkonen was like 3 feet offside and grabbed a puck that Seattle rimmed around the boards in the offensive zone?
Yes. And I remember something like this. Yes.
Lecky entered the zone way ahead of what was happening, but it was because Seattle, 160 feet away, rimmed a puck around in the offensive zone that went all the way around, and then they went cross ice. Rantanen scores on a one-timer to, I think it was like a 3-2 lead. It ended up being like 4-2 at that point. And Dan Bilesman and Seattle are looking at the referees going, how is he in an onside position? And the NHL re-awarded that goal to Colorado, saying, hey, Seattle put it in their own zone. But if you look back at the original play, Seattle rimmed the puck under duress. There was a Colorado
That's a great
player,
point.
There was a Colorado player in his own defensive zone forechecking. I can't remember who it was on Seattle.
Sure.
Under duress, Seattle has to rim the puck around, trying to relieve pressure, much like Utah did tonight, only in their defensive zone and right near their defensive blue line.
Well, if you're
relieving
being
pressure,
pressured, Raj,
right?
then oh my gosh.
Right?
Whoever sent the
Lehkonen should have
puck
been
in
offside.
doesn't even matter because you were being pressured. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Okay. I'm sorry. We just got, and I'm never this guy. But between Ryan Smith getting 8 minutes of ESPN broadcast time and just this folk, and I'm never this guy. But even I'm like, holy crap, was this a Utah Mammoth home broadcast? And keep in mind, and we had someone in the chat say, let me scroll back up. Haley, you could tell who they wanted to win. That's what Haley put in the chat. And I'm never this guy. Barrage, I'm going to put my tinfoil cap on for a second. They just unveiled Tusky. They finally have a name. Like last year they were the Utah Hockey Club. Like who gave a shit, you know? It was kind of haphazardly put together. This is really like the more official formal launch of the Utah market, of the Utah Hockey Club in that market. Now they're the Mammoth. They have a mascot. It's all there. It's all coming together. Do you think and it's on ESPN, it's on national TV, even though most of the country is watching the NBA tonight, but whatever. NHL's living in their own little world. Do you think they just wanted to showcase Utah tonight?
I mean, it was a glazed session. Also, hold on. I need to say this. Doesn't everything associated with the Utah Mammoth scream they're a bunch of tryhards? Like, it just feels
100%.
I felt like watching tonight's game. I went, it's fucking October, you dweebs. Cool it. Like the rally towels on October 21st. Cool it, guys. It's okay. Cool it.
But, you know, it's like, hey, let's get Utah this win on national TV.
They feel like they're a bunch of pick-me's.
And, hey, NHL fans, Utah has a hockey team. And look, their fans care. The Phoenix fans, they didn't care. But and what else do you have going on in Salt Lake City? You know, the Jazz start up in a night or two, but they suck.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
I'll give
biggest
Utah
story around the Jazz right now is that Lauri Markkanen is going to be traded at some point this season.
At some point. I'll give Utah, it is a better place for that team. And, you know, in cities like that where there's not as much going on, you know, they will rally around this stuff.
And I like what they're doing. Don't get me wrong.
I do too.
Like they're completely retrofitting that stadium. Their practice facility is state of the art. Like they stole Kim Becker from us, and Kim's fantastic. So they're doing good things, but they feel like they're a bunch of go-hards right now. Cool it.
And it just felt tonight like, hey, let's hard launch the Utah Mammoth, you know, and screw this awesome team with heritage that has a bunch of players in their prime and superstars that won a cup a few years ago. But no, we really need to put over the fact that Utah has a hockey team, and look at everyone in this city that's behind them. That's what tonight's game was.
Of course. And yeah, if I was on an ESPN broadcast and I was asked to have the owner join me in the booth, you know what I'm doing? I'm having the owner join me in the booth because
I get it
for ESPN. Like we get that.
But
the beauty is that I don't work for them, so I can say that I can't stand the broadcast.
I get it in that context, but shit, dude, like, has Josh Kroenke ever done that? I've never, and not even Josh, like any other team's owner ever. Like,
I'm sure it's happened at some point, but Ryan Smith he's 47. He's a very young owner. He's hip. He wears flat bill hats. He looks like he's 32. Like, I understand it. I get it.
Like when Joe Sakic goes in the booth, that dude no-sells everything. And he's just business. And he's just like, yeah, we have a really good hockey team. And that's like all that Joe Sakic says. It was very much a PR. It gave off so much PR vibes tonight for Utah.
It sure did. It sucks that you didn't get the win. You were the better team in the second half of the first period, and that was largely it. It looked like there was some juice from Utah. The power play continues to be crap.
Dude,
Um,
it's and I'm glad I actually kind of forgot it because they had that power play and I hate the power plays. I'll say this that split periods.
yeah, you get a minute 15 on dirty ice, and then you get 45 seconds on fresh ice. I agree. As a player, I hated it too. I'd rather have the full 2 minutes on dirty ice, or I'd rather
Yeah.
every second of that come on the opposite side. Obviously, you want the fresh sheet, but there's nothing worse than having to split and knowing that you're going from slow ice to fast ice on the opposite side. It sucks.
But, this was and while we talk about the overturned Landeskog goal and I kind of can point to that as the number one reason why the Avs lost this game. But beyond that, this power play is going to cost them in big games at some point if this
Oh
continues.
yeah, certainly will.
And tonight, what now is this the biggest game? No. Like you said, it's October and the Avs are now 5-0-2. Like it's fine.
Yeah,
You
they have
got
the
the
best
point.
record in the National Hockey League.
They do. But like if we're gonna pretend that was a big hockey game, and there was juice, like I certainly felt juice as that game went on. And that's another thing. Like, dude, like fuck Utah and this division, like Dallas, Minnesota, St. Louis. Now I hate Utah. Now I hate all these damn teams. Now you can throw freaking Utah into the mix. I hate these guys.
You know who I don't hate? Like, and they were so hateable because they were so good in the 2010s. I don't hate Chicago at all.
Yeah,
I don't.
no, they're
I have
young,
no
they're
ill will
plucky.
towards the Blackhawks whatsoever.
They're young and they're plucky. They're like the only team in the even Winnipeg. Like for some reason, I don't hate Winnipeg.
Because
Maybe
they're not serious. They're not
you're
a serious
right.
contender.
Playoff
They're
Hellebuck,
good, but
Avs.
they'll never get it done.
Yeah. I don't know. Like now I hate Utah. Like great. Add another one to the list. Now we're just adding teams to the list.
I hated Nashville until they made all those crazy offseason moves last year, and none of them worked out. And then I go, I don't really care about you anymore.
Yeah, now that they're kind of on the downturn a little bit and PK Subban is long gone. Yeah, who really cares? But no, this power play, man. And it's funny on the ESPN broadcast tonight, Butcher Gross, he really hammered home. He's like, they have put in Olofsson for Lehkonen. Lehkonen is off of this power play. Victor Olofsson is in. He hammered that home like 5 times. The issue is not, to me, Raj, personnel. The issue is structure and setup.
Yeah, intent.
It's just, you want to know what has happened with this new structure with the Avs power play? Nathan McKinnon is like a non-factor on these power plays. Hell, Cale Makar is a non-factor on these power plays. What happened to Cale at the point just being dangerous and having options to his left and his right, and McKinnon just being a man on his own island on the left? Just the danger of, I would say, McKinnon number one and a little bit of a second, Makar. They're just not dangerous at all on this power play right now. And I think it's the setup. I think it's the 4 wide with now Nelson in the middle. I want McKinnon on an island on his own, freaking the hell out of the PK. What's he going to do when McKinnon gets that puck on the left side? Makar at the point. What's he going to do? I like the old setup. I like the Ray Bennett setup. That's where I'm at right now.
I could throw anything at a wall. Like I'd run them on an overload at this point. Like just get on the half wall, man. And if Nate wants the puck on his stick, force him to walk the half wall seam because nothing's working. And you know what it feels like is the same forced passes on the power play. It's the same exact pass that happened in overtime. It's the falling away from, I'm going to make this little cheeky against the grain saucer pass that if it goes perfectly can spring a 2-on-1, but it feels like it's a 1 out of 10 success pass. And I want to see more 2-on-1 attacks. I want to see if you're going to be a completely zone entry heavy team on the power play, lean into it, right? Lean into it. Go try and score on that zone entry. Don't gain the zone and then pull up 5 feet inside the blue line. If you're going to pull up down around the hash marks. Give yourself room to relieve pressure. It is, it hurts right now, and it is a momentum killer right now. I hope it changes. I expect it to change. Like, it has been a top 7 power play around the league dating back for the last 8 seasons. Like, if you just take those numbers, it's a damn good power play. So I assume that the data is going to swing back in Colorado's favor, right? That's what history tells me right now. I just hope that they don't get stagnant, but it does feel as though that they're forcing passes all over the ice. Tonight was a sloppy game. For them to get a point, man, that's a win.
They're just too wide, man. I look. Marty Necas scores a brilliant goal. Let's talk about his money in a second, okay? I don't want him on power play 1. You got to get him off there. Here's what I want. I want Makar, and I'm
Well, are
firm
you
on
going to put
this.
4 dudes in front of the net at that point? Like, what are we
No,
talking about? You can't take him off.
I'm taking Necas off. I'm Makar at the point. I'm McKinnon left wing. You can flip a coin. Do you want Brock Nelson on the left wing, or do you want Victor Olofsson on the, or excuse me, right wing? Nelson or Olofsson? I don't give a damn. I don't give a shit. Put either Nelson or Olofsson on the left wing. So again, Makar point, McKinnon left wing, Olofsson, Nelson right wing. Don't care that I whatever you, Jared Bednar, Dave Haxtell, whatever you choose between Olofsson and Nelson, I don't care. I want Lehkonen in the bumper, and I ideally want Gabe Landeskog creating havoc net front. If you can't give me Landeskog, give me Nichushkin. And I want either Landeskog or Nichushkin just bodying up whatever defenseman is back there. I want Lehkonen in that bumper. I want him back on power play 1. I want McKinnon on the left wing all by himself. I'm sorry, but Marty Necas is too redundant. He's McKinnon light, and that's a compliment because Nathan McKinnon is one of the 2 best hockey players in the world. That's what I want, Raj.
I guess I could see it. I mean, at that point, you're treating McKinnon like he's Ovechkin, and
Is he not in a way?
I mean, no.
I know
I don't
Ovechkin
put
is like
I don't put
elite
Nathan
at
McKinnon
that left
in terms,
wing.
dude. In terms of offhand one timers, I don't put Nathan McKinnon in the top 5 of the league.
Well, give him a chance. I want to see it. I want to like we haven't seen it this year.
Zibanejad's better with that. Stamkos is still arguably better. Ovechkin's still better.
We are talking about
Nathan
Raymond McKinnon.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't. If you're just going to place him as an off-wing one-time opportunity on the power play, because that's what we're saying right now. Like,
yes, that's what I want.
Slapshot regatta. It's not playing into his strengths.
Well, you know what? What they're doing right now isn't working. So I want to try it. I just want to try it.
You can convince me. I'm fine with that. Like 12% doesn't deserve.
And here's the thing about Nate. And when Nate is on an island, and I want him on an island on that left side, and I'm having trouble for some reason bringing comments up from my end on the chat, but I'll just say I miss Moxie May in the chat. McKinnon is also a creator, not just a shot. I talked about this a show or 2 ago. I miss Nate feeding Lehkonen, and last year to start it was Colton. I miss Nate faking the slap shot and feeding Lehkonen into the slot. But where I feel like that slot position is getting lost right now is because there's not that true net front presence behind Lehkonen. Whether it's Landeskog or Nichushkin, they've been trying Necas. It's not his role. If Nathan McKinnon didn't exist, then Necas would be great in Nathan McKinnon's role. But Nate exists. The net front bullies and puck tippers are Landeskog and Nichushkin, and it helps open up Lehkonen in that bumper. And not only am I talking? So to the commenter's point, not only am I talking about McKinnon firing one-timers from the left side, I'm also talking about him also feeding Lehkonen in the slot.
Okay. All right. Then I can see that. If he's being utilized as a puck handler and still primary zone entry player, then yeah, why not? Again, if you're rolling at 12% right now, there are no wrong answers. There are not.
There
If
we
you want to
go.
tell me that you're going to put Jack Drury and Bardakov and an injured
Oh,
Logan O'Connor out there on the power play, it's 12%. Be my guest.
let's talk about Bardakov.
He
Which
had a
goal
good
was
first shift.
um
It was the first goal of the game. It was the forecheck that he had in the first period.
you're right.
Beautiful
Okay.
hard forecheck. He looks like a combination of Alex Ovechkin's enthusiasm and Artem Anisimov's smoky visor and Derek Armstrong's funny puffy face with messed up teeth. I love watching that dude. I love that forecheck. He's big. He's beefy. Bardakov is fun, man. He's fun.
Well, hold on. Oh my gosh, was and again the second period was absolute torture. Um, the goal where Solovyov tries to feed Malinsky behind the net,
Yeah.
and Malinsky does pinch a little bit, and Solovyov's not anticipating that. Solovyov is anticipating that Malinsky is just going to be wide behind the net. And he's just trying to feed a basic pass to him. I understand from Solovyov's perspective that like game moves fast, right? Game moves fast. I'm gonna assume my guy is over there, but he didn't have his eyes up. He didn't see Sam Malinsky wasn't there. Boom, turnover, boom, goal. That whole sequence starts with Bardakov laying a cross check / interference on a Mammoth player that was not called. And so that is one instance where I will say that the Mammoth did get screwed a little bit, even though the hockey gods played in their favor. A goal was scored moments later. That was an irresponsible play from Bardakov. That was a penalty that should have been called. And then I am going to put that on Solovyov behind the net for not reading where his deep pairman was. And those are the
Yeah.
two new additions. Those are the two guys into the lineups because of the Girard and Kiviranta injuries.
Yeah. Solovyov struggled tonight. I thought he struggled with the physicality of the game. I thought he struggled with the pace of the game. And when turnovers happen, if you're not stopping on a dime and you're not, it's funny. I make fun of Keaton Middleton a lot. One thing that I love about him is that he is scanning the ice 24/7 because he knows that God forbid I'm caught out of position or someone's behind me, I don't have the foot speed to get back. So if you ever watch Keaton Middleton, he's snapping his head around.
Yes.
It's like it looks like he's getting whiplash. And again, it's because he knows I have to always be in proper position because if I'm caught a foot and a half outside, I'm never getting back. Solovyov wasn't doing that this evening. I thought he was when turnovers happened in the defensive zone for Colorado, and it happened way too often today. I thought he drifted with those turnovers instead of stopping on a dime, getting back home. He did it twice, and it ended up in the back of the net both times.
It's funny. I think it was,
struggled.
now that you mention it, I think that the player that Bardakov cross-checked / interfered with was Tanev. And then it was Chris Tanev who, in retaliation, laid this nasty hit on Solovyov.
Hammered him, neutral zone.
On the boards. And then to actually like this for the ESPN broadcast, they showed Solovyov on the bench and he was like grabbing his jaw like, yeah, he got crushed.
And it's okay. Like I'm not shutting the book on that player. I like his size. I think you can deal with growing pains at this point of the year, which is why I want Bardakov and Brindley and Solovyov to have extended looks. It's something that Jared Bednar hasn't had the ability to do over the past few years where you're chasing points early on because you've started slow. You can't give these young guys extended looks and giving them spots, starting them on the fourth line, then maybe giving them a few minutes in the middle six or even the top six for forwards. Not just having a defenseman show up as the number 6 guy and play 6 minutes a night, but maybe he plays 14 and he slots in a little bit with your middle pair. I'd love to see him do that a little bit more often with those 3 players that I mentioned. I'm fine with that, right? The beginning of the season is growing pains, much like the power play can be so with young players as well.
Yeah, yeah, and it's injuries and these young players slot into the lineup, and it's October. Like, it's freaking October. So yeah, you try him out, and there's going to be growing pains. You mentioned Keaton Middleton. Look, he learned to do that because of mistakes he made prior. So
Right.
he was like, "Oh shit, I need to like always be aware." And he knew he didn't have the greatest speed. That was, one of his flaws. But nonetheless, you always have to be aware, and Solovyov was not aware on that behind the net play. I know what he was thinking though. Like, I know he was like, okay, this is the NHL. In my first handful of games, everything's got to be bang, 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 quick.
Get the
I
puck
just
off my stick.
I just
I
need to get
don't
this
want the
puck
puck
off
on
my
my
stick
stick at
over there.
all.
Oh, whoops. Sam Malinsky's not there anymore. And I saw Guru, I see in the chat, he brought up Sam Girard. Oh, Sam Girard wouldn't have uh yeah, the physicality in this game would have been too much for him. No, dude, in the third period, I literally thought to myself, I miss Sam Girard, because Sam Girard would have been more heady, and he would have actually eaten more minutes for you. We're seeing Solovyov's, I don't have the box score in front of me, but I noticed a lot of, if Malinsky was out there, it was barely at all. We were really down to 2 D pairs in this game. The only pairs that Bednar trusted by the end of this thing were Makar Taves and Manson Burns. Brent Burns, I thought he had some looks in the third that were pretty good. I thought Brent Burns had another damn good game, but
Loves
but there
Burnsy tonight.
but there were only 2 D pairs that he trusted tonight. If you had Sam Girard, it would have been 3.
Yeah, so I think as a fan, you need to be able to look at every player as objectively as possible. And when I think about Sam Girard, I go, yes, it's a player that cannot compete net front against bigger guys. It's a player that in the corners is going to get manhandled a little bit if he's beat to pucks, but objectively he slows the game down. And
Yes,
you
that's a
and you
great way to
needed
put it. He slows the game down.
and you needed that tonight.
Yeah.
I believe that in a sloppy game full of turnovers and forced passes, a little bit of poise when you're regrouping the puck in the neutral
Yep.
zone, a little bit of poise when you are trying to get back on the offensive, and trust when that player has the puck on his stick. Like, Sam utilizes his feet really well. Like, there's something that I always scream at players when coaching them, especially defenders. When you have free ice, you need to take it. Skate into that free ice and then move pucks. And Girard does that wonderfully. So where he is admittedly very deficient physically. And there are times where I look at him and I go, if Sam Girard wasn't net front there, the Avs probably don't get scored on. There's also a bunch of times where I go, he's a one-man breakout and he makes you breathe a little bit. And I don't think Colorado had a minute to breathe when Makar and Taves weren't on the ice tonight from their defensive pairs.
Yeah, it's a matter of experience too. The longer you've played, the more you've seen, the more you know, I can pause here. I can gather myself. I can look up and see what's around me. That's what Solovyov should have done in that moment. Instead, he was too quick to fire. Like I said, I get it. But Gerard would have paused, he would have assessed, he would have made the correct play, and there would have been multiple instances of that throughout the game. Would have helped with zone entries, would have helped with movement through the neutral zone, but that just is what it is. You're going to get banged up, you're going to lose guys. So, it's the way it goes, and they got a point. They got a point in a game that, as that we talked earlier. If you didn't hear us talk about the Landeskog offside goal thing, Nichushkin, all that. Go rewind and listen to it all. But after that, man, it really did feel like this was going to be their first regulation loss of the season. It just kind of
when they went down
snowballing out of
3-2,
control a little bit.
When they went down 3-2 after the Sergachev goal, I went, no shot, no chance.
Me too. But they salvaged a point. So, okay, and I teased this. Marty Necas, what a shot. Do I want him off power play one? Me personally, yes. Some might disagree. Totally fair. But holy crap, has he been good 5-on-5 this year? And you saw who had the report that $10.5 million would be the low end on a short-term deal and like $11 million for a long-term deal. $11 million is $1 million less than what Rantanen got. That's sniped, and it's not just tonight. He's been great through the first 7 games, and he was very good overall in his stint with the Avs back half of last year. If it's $1 million less than Rantanen, you know what? I can live with it.
Yeah, I think you take it, right? I think Marty Necas, if he signs a 7 or an 8-year deal in Colorado, will be a 100-point player for at least 6 of those seasons. And if you are a 100-point player, you get that money. I know he feels different because he's not Mikko Rantanen. I think both players have their physical deficiencies. Mikko doesn't have a physical deficiency, being 6'4" and 220 pounds. He has a physicality deficiency. He doesn't really play the size of the Moose. Necas isn't that size and doesn't play physical. Both guys are elite offensive playmakers. Rantanen at a Hall of Fame level already at this point in his career. Necas not having the same type of producers around him like Rantanen did for the first 9 years of his career in Colorado, I think can create that type of career if he wants to stay here. If they can sign him at 11, I do it tomorrow. I think it's going to be closer to 12, and it might be tough to swallow. That might be tough to swallow for a lot of Avs fans.
I just put my hand to my head because it is tough to swallow.
You go, then it's 1-for-1 with all things happening. I know Jack Drury is here, and it enabled you to make the trade for Brock Nelson, who's now here long term. If you go 1-for-1, Mikko for Necas, I don't know how many people take that deal. But again, we haven't seen Necas for a full season in Colorado, and the early goings are really, really nice.
It's funny, because we talked about the context of Mikko and how he wanted 14 mil, and
he had to have 3 teams tell him no
exactly
to then accept 12.
And then he
Colorado,
gets 12.
Carolina, Toronto all told him get fucking lost at 14.
And it's one of those. It's just like if you knew the future type thing, you would have just told Mikko, "Hey, bud, take 12 here." But they didn't know the future. Nobody knew the future. I do think that Mikko is a better player than Marty Necas, but when you look at the snipe that Necas had tonight, and then you look at, some of the other goals he scored earlier this season, and then you also do consider, and hey, Dallas lost again tonight. Dallas got crushed.
Yeah, hammered by Columbus.
And hey, I like Columbus, and I was kind of putting them over after the Avs win in Columbus, and I had some people being like, Columbus isn't that good. So actually, look, Columbus actually isn't that bad. But nonetheless, now Dallas is 3-3. And my point was, as many awesome plays as Mikko has made in his career, he's had a lot of sleepy moments too. And maybe Necas and Rantanen, although I want to make this clear. I do think Mikko's the better player, but maybe they are much closer than some of us might think.
I think we need 3 years to really know, but I believe that they're closer than we previously thought. And again, playing alongside Nathan McKinnon and having many minutes attached to Cale Makar will help you there.
Yeah.
Again, it's the whoever plays with Sidney Crosby turns into a top 6 player. Whoever plays with Sidney Crosby turns into a guy who's going to have 2 or 3 rings. Just ask Chris Kunitz what his career was prior to moving over for Pittsburgh. It really wasn't anything. I mean, G Bruin and on the Twitch chat brings up a really good point. How much of the power play struggle is Mikko not being here anymore? It's a lot.
Oh yeah, no, that's a huge. It's probably the area where they miss Mikko the most.
Dating back to 2017, Mikko Rantanen has the 9th most power play goals scored in the National Hockey League with 104. That's as many as Austin Matthews has in that same time span. That is 2 fewer than Braden Point. Leon Draisaitl leads the league at 158 since 2017. Ovechkin's got 131 at number 2, and Pasternak, actually a guy who I didn't talk about in terms of one-timer opportunities, is number 3. He's a top 10 guy on the power play. Like, very, very good. And it's probably a big reason why they suck on the power play right now, is because there is a Mikko Rantanen sized hole over there, and you can't really you can fill it in the aggregate on the roster, and the Avs have done a great job at that, right? I think we can agree that in the aggregate, Colorado is a better team right now. They're 5-0-2 through the first 7. They're the best team in the National Hockey League as it stands on October 21st of 2025 as a result of creating Mikko Rantanen and others in the aggregate. Where you can't create in the aggregate is it 5-on-5 or 5-on-4 on the ice.
Sure. And two things there, like Nature's snipe tonight, and the goals he scored, like they're very Rantanen-esque. Like the plays that Natchez has made remind me of Mikko 5-on-5. Now, when you look at the two players, just stature-wise, like Mikko's a little bigger, and
I mean, Marty's not a small.
No, he's not small, but Mikko's a big dude.
He's not a small dude.
Like you mentioned, Mikko's a big dude, which is funny because he does, and you mentioned it. We've mentioned it. He lacks the physicality.
Yeah,
but he's a big MFer. That's the one thing Natchez doesn't have in comparison to Mikko. But then you look at the goals, like the variety of goals, the way they're scored, it's very similar, actually. But what Mikko provided, and I even conceded this, even as somebody who liked, or at the very least understood the trade at the time, was my concern was, well, that's your big left-handed shot on the right wing for the power play. And I think that the Avs have overcompensated on the power play. Maybe overcompensated isn't the right word, but they knew that they lost that big left-handed shot right wing, so they knew they needed to adjust things. They knew that they didn't have the built-in replacement for Mikko, so they've changed their whole operation on the power play. And yes, I know that even when Mikko was here, that towards the end of his tenure, the power play did dip a little bit. And there was frustration. Oh, this is Ray Bennett's fault. But I think now, and maybe this will change. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe this new setup is awesome because it is October still. But so far, we have seen that maybe it wasn't the setup. It just got cold. It just got cold. And having that big left-handed shot on the right side, like I miss that right now. I miss that. But more so than that, I miss the setup. I miss what they were doing structure-wise beforehand, because now I feel like Nathan McKinnon is in a role that he has just never in his Avalanche career been in on the power play.
Yeah, I suppose I can see that. Maybe there's something to be said for here. Colorado's expected goals rate at 5-on-4 this season is top 10 in the league. It's number 10 right now. Their shot attempts percentage on the power play is 7th best at 5-on-4 in the league. Their unblocked shot attempts, which is better known as Fenwick, is number 7 as well. So I think there might I think these numbers might be super low shooting percentages that are going to get a little bit better. I'm not saying I think it's fixed and it's like, hey, they're just missing the net every now and again. Um, I do think it is a combination of not knowing how they want to run the power play, new personnel, new coaching staff in terms of who's running the power play with Dave Hackstall, and a little bit of bad luck and gripping the stick at this point.
When you have Cale Makar, and hell, they're trying Brent Burns. So like they've kind of gotten away from Taves as the captain of power play 2. And we've obviously talked about how power play 2, you're lucky to get 30 seconds, but nonetheless, whether it's Makar or even Burns, these are good players. These are good defensemen at shooting from the point and getting that puck into traffic. But you need the traffic, and you need that anchor at the back end who's going to finish the job when that puck gets near the stick in a tippable position. You have Cale Makar. You need to utilize his shots from the point and have bodies in a line, in a row, that create chaos for the penalty killers trying to body them up. That is missing right now.
It sure is. It's late here on a Tuesday evening.
It sure is. It's almost midnight.
Let's get out of here. Avs do get a point, so they still remain undefeated in regulation. They will host, no, not the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday night, but as we speculated a couple of shows ago, and I got a little bit of a whack on the wrist for leaking this out and had to delete a tweet a few days ago before they announced it today. We are getting, for the first time since May 3rd of 1995, a matchup between the Quebec Nordiques and the Hartford Whalers as the Carolina Hurricanes come into the Mile High City Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Colorado will debut their special heritage uniforms, which they showed out today. That is a complete throwback to the blue Quebec Nordiques jerseys of old, the ones that Peter Forsberg and Adam Foote and Joe Sakic donned back in their days. And Hartford, Carolina here, will play along. They will be playing in their white Hartford Whaler uniforms. This is a WHA hockey throwback, man. It's going to be beautiful.
You see this? You see this? You see this? Yeah, that's how I feel. That's going to be
a lot of fun.
That's going to be a beautiful, I mean, aesthetically pleasing uniform matchup. I love that stuff. You can come out like the Dallas Stars have those like neon greens. You're new, you're modern, you're hip, you're fresh. No, throw it back to the old school and pay tribute to the heritage of your franchise. I don't care that the Hurricanes aren't in the Hartford Whalers anymore. I don't care that they're not in Hartford. I don't care that the Avalanche aren't in Quebec, that they're not the Nordiques anymore. Look, let's be a Hartford, Connecticut. Are you kidding me? Look, you needed to move to Raleigh, North Carolina. It is what it is. All right. But don't forget about the history and throw it back for those who remember and appreciate the old school looks. Thursday, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great game. I cannot wait.
It's funny, the Avs now have two different division rivalry jerseys this year. So they're going to wear, obviously, their Navy homes against Central Division rivals currently. You'll always see that third logo in the Navy jerseys. These Quebec Nordiques jerseys are going to be worn 7 different times this year, including once on the road in Carolina, when the Hartford Whalers jerseys will come back out at home for Hurricanes fans. The Avs are taking these jerseys against Toronto, Montreal, Pittsburgh, and I believe Vancouver and Vegas, as well as these 2 games against Hartford. So all but the Vegas and the Vancouver games are old Adams or Northeast Division rivals back when Quebec was playing. So you technically have two different division rivalry jerseys, and then the Avs are giving fans one more time to see those Quebec Nordiques jerseys in the second to last home game on April the 11th against the Vegas Golden Knights. The reason why it's not the final home game of the year is because that's when they do the Avs jersey off our back campaign, and those are always done in the tried and true home jerseys of the team.
I almost and I understand not overdoing it. They're so great. Like I almost wish they would wear them more. But I get it. They're the Colorado Avalanche, not the Quebec Nordiques. But I love different, and I also love history. So I love these things, and I love because they came out with a Nordiques throwback a few years ago, but it
And
was
they were
kind of
perfect.
it was a variation. It was a white version. This is like the authentic home Nordiques jerseys, and like Raj, like and I haven't played these games in a couple years, but I used to play like the NHL video game all the time. And so many times when I was playing online, you know, get your opponent, go to jersey select, flip, 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 go to those old school jerseys. I did that all the time.
Yeah, kids are going to be able to do so and actually wear the jerseys now. Again, Thursday night, Avs against the Hurricanes, the Quebec Nordiques against the Hartford Whalers. It's going to do it for us tonight, late on a Tuesday, rather into Wednesday morning here. For Mark Springer, I'm Alex Ryanemi. Avs fall in overtime, but they get a point and maintain their position at the top of the NHL standings. We will talk to you guys Thursday evening after Heritage Night at Ball Arena.